Stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned. I'm with the coach, John Brent.
And I'm here with the vet, Mr. Ian Griffin. It's a great day.
It is. So I got fall colors on because it's wintertime almost in Texas. That means it's really fall in Texas.
It is a little bit chilly, but, you know, this last week it's been 45 for a high and 84 for a high. I mean, Welcome to Texas.
Yep. So, Coach, you know, I've heard over this last year how the American people need to get over Donald Trump as the president. And he is no longer the president. And I'm like, I don't know why you're talking about it because Biden's been the president, and I've been over it from January 21st.
Yeah.
You know, so.
It's been his baby.
Yeah. It is all Joe Biden. He is the president. But those same people who would crawl in the knapsack in a heartbeat with old Hillary Clinton got their girlfriend coming out telling us about her victory speech if she would have won. Although she did pay for the Russian collusion. You know, I mean, so we know that. So I'm just like, the audacity, and there is no Hebrews. That is the very reason why she is not president.
Now,
is that right there?
The first thing I thought about when I heard this was, you know, when there's an Academy Award for, say, the best actor of the year. Let's just put that out there. And there's 5 nominees. All 5 of them in their coat pocket has a speech.
Yep.
But I'm going to tell you, only one gives that speech.
Yep.
And those other 4 speeches get torn up and thrown in the trash.
Yep.
No one ever says, well, I'm going to tell you what I would have said if I would have won. But in this case, this fool comes out 5 years later and says, well, if I would have won, this would have been my message to America. And you got I had almost cursed. We have the beautiful girls in the View, all these liberal people going, oh my God, how great this would have been if she would have been there. Are you kidding me? She's the source of the source losers.
Yes, she is. Well, I mean, she took our country down for 4 years over this Russia thing. Had Adam Schiff's all spun up thinking that he don't even know what the hell's the truth. And, you know, over her paid dossier that she paid for, her campaign paid for. But, like you said, on The View, they had some guest on there, and I can't remember her name. And I do not watch Laura Ingraham hardly at all. I catch the last couple of minutes because I like to watch the Gutfeld show at night. And she had on there the excerpt of it, and the lady goes, all children in America should hear this great speech for this loser. You know, we should hear this speech, and whoever becomes the first female president, and I love what Laura Ingraham said, whoever becomes the first female president has to stand on the shoulders of Hillary. My ass! And Laura Ingraham goes, no, because it will be a conservative woman. It won't be a batshit crazy woman like Hillary that the whole world knew was toxic, one, that was bad, two. And I have people here say, well, the Russia collusion was not fake because Donald Trump fired James Comey. Well, hell, did you not hear Hillary Clinton in July? She said, as soon as I walk in the White House, his ass is gone.
Yeah.
So what the flip-flop is that? You know, I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is, I don't even know what to call it. It is so neck deep in shit with this right here. And hubris. Yeah. Hubris. Because somebody felt the White House was owed to them. Coach, I'm going to say this. In the military, I mentored a lot of soldiers and a lot of young leaders and a lot of officers. And during those times, I would have young leaders come up to me, Sergeant Major, what job do I need to do to get to this rank? I'm like, it's not the job, guy. It's not the job. It's what you do in the job that matters. You can go be the guy that passes out towels at the gym. As long as you're the freaking rock star doing it, you'll get promoted. Where the Democratic Party, and Hillary is the perfect example of it, never, ever understood that. I'm a senator for my stepping stone. I'm the Secretary of State for my stepping stone. Mm-hmm. But you sucked at all of them.
Yes, she didn't do anything well.
I mean, should I even talk about, hello, because you were the Secretary of State, you couldn't get an agreement with freaking Pakistan to get our shit out of the port of Karachi for 3.5 to 4 years, that we had to pay extra tariffs to 11 other countries because you didn't have the audacity or the gumption enough to get that straight. Or let's not even talk about Benghazi and the lies and the blood on your hands. And then to think that somebody, who is this miserable person in America that wants to actually listen to that shit? That's what I want to know. Where is this desperate person at? Because we need to get them to chaplain, and we need to get them to suicide watch because they're batshit crazy with her, to be honest.
Well, there's a lot of things there that you talked about. One of the things that I think about is my favorite atheist. I hate to say it that way. It was Christopher Hitchens. He's about as progressive as you can come. Now, Lord, he's passed on now. But he came from England and was all about progressivism. But he said the two devils in American politics were Bill and Hillary Clinton. He actually wrote a book about it. He said because there is no other narcissist people than those two, because everything that goes on around them, they know about it and are involved in it. So when you say that Steele dossier was bought and paid for by the Hillary Clinton campaign, there's no doubt that because of the power-hungry person that she is, that she knew about it. Just look at what she did with the email servers. She did that at home because she knew she could do it and would get away with it. They've gotten away with so many things. And so she just continues with this whole thing. The division that she sparked with the anti-Trump and the anti-after that he didn't win the election is the same way that Trump acted when Biden was elected. He didn't want to, he's a sore loser. But people forget when they talk about Trump being the sore loser that just 4 years prior we had one of the sorest of sore losers.
And she's still a sore loser.
And she's today. Why would you release that statement today for any kind of union, anything but to prop myself up as the narcissist in charge? I'll just say that's from now on. I'm going to call her the narcissist in charge. There you go.
She believes that people still value her opinion. When I was in Michigan, I went to Barnes & Noble bookstore when I was there for 5 months by myself. I was going up there, reading books left and right. That's why do you think I know so much about Russia? No, I'm just joking. So anyway, but I would go to the bookstore and get me a bunch of books and read, and go to the movies and read back and forth. You know, they had the discount books for 50 cents. Her damn book was at 25 cents.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, are you going to hand it to me at the door? Because I'm going to wipe my butt with it, to be honest with you.
Well,
you know, I mean, that's how bad she couldn't even get that to go.
Well, even her own Democratic Party understood it. She was supposed to be the nominee, and then Obama came up.
Yep.
Then she's supposed to be the nominee when Trump was there. They were giving her the job, not because they knew that she would be the greatest politician based on her record, because she had no good record, but because she checked the boxes.
Yep.
She's,
I did the job.
A woman. I've done the job. I've done these steps. I'm the first woman ever. It's time, because this woman's going to go against the worst guy in the world, Trump, and she's going to win. And she couldn't even win that, Vet.
Yeah, she couldn't even run a decent campaign. Hell, if she had just walked her ass up in freaking Wisconsin, she'd have been the president for the last 4 years.
Exactly.
But she was too. I'm above.
There's no way I'm going to lose to Donald F. Trump.
Yeah. Let me get on Saturday Night Live and do that skit because
Maybe she needed to play the saxophone on MTV. I don't know.
I don't. Tell us if she wears boxers or briefs. I don't know.
Maybe
like her husband did.
I really believe it. You know what America really wanted from her, and it started, and Christopher Hitchens said this. He didn't say it this way. I'm paraphrasing, but when she found out her husband was cheating in the White House, and she blamed the girl and covered it up and said it wasn't that bad, what she needed to do was throw something and move out of the White House. Do something to show that she was angry about it. And when she didn't, there was a lot of women, especially rural women around this country, forget the Democrat, Republican, but if you're a woman that lives in the rural area of Tyler, Texas, Longview, Texas, Jacksonville, Texas, and your man cheats on you, you're not going to act that way and stand by his side. You're going to burn his barn down. You're going to take care of his boat. You're going to sell his something because you're pissed. She never showed any emotion, and everybody knew the reason she didn't was to stay there in power with him so she would get her shot later.
She was plotting for her position.
Exactly.
The whole time. And she was conniving, and she was ambitious. There's nothing wrong with ambition. There's something wrong with being over-ambitious, and she is the epitome of that. She is the epitome of that. Mm-hmm. And, I honestly thought, hey, you go eat your ice cream, you go soak in the room, go be a grandma somewhere and raise your grandkids and be a good role model for them and say I was a politician and call it a day. But America is sick with them. I hate to say it. When the Me Too movement came out.
Oh, that's what I was just getting to.
When the Me Too movement come out, there was many in the Democratic Party go, hey, Hillary, your husband, hello, come on. And Senator Gillibrand, who I am not a big fan of because she's very manipulative and conniving in her own right, but she did at least call her out. I was impressed by that. And she goes, we don't want the Clintons anywhere around this at all. And you think about anything that Clintons touch it is tainted.
Right.
It is tainted.
And you see what happened was when, if what happened with Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton with the Monica Lewinsky thing, because they were both involved in that, happened in 2015 to now, it'd be totally different. The world has changed, but when you try to get elected in 2016, based on 2016's mentality, and what Donald Trump and Steve Bannon did whenever that came up about him grabbing by the, you know what, they went on offensive. And what did Bannon do? Say, you go in this room, Trump, we're going to have 4 women up there, Paula Jones, the other ones that had been there with the Clinton escapades of being sued, you know, a sexual harassment claim. And when Paula Jones said, why don't you go ask Hillary Clinton about this? Why don't you go ask her about what she did to me? Because what that did is that put the Me Too movement that was going on in 2016 through 2020 in the forefront and say, we're basing what that crap you did then now on 2020. And it made it look really bad for her.
Well, when you sit here and you think about this here, what do we call the scandal that President Clinton was in? We call it the Monica Lewinsky scandal.
Right.
But it should be called the Bill Clinton scandal.
Right.
And she has perpetuated that. Like you said, it's never been Bill's fault. It's always been Monica's fault. In the way she has presented it, where she could easily go, my husband did bad. I'm going to go bash out his headlights. You know, if it had been Ian Griffin, I know I would wake up with a frying pan over my head and my Cobra would be trashed right now.
Yeah.
And I would have to hide that thing.
You think about it when we talk about the Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton and Monica Lewinsky, and you talk about the Monica Lewinsky affair or situation, we don't really understand that the propaganda involved in that was the right-wing conservatives mad about the president getting a blowjob in the White House. That's what people, even today, when I bring it up to my students the first time, say, why are they mad about him getting a blowjob in the White House? It was about him committing perjury under oath about the blowjob in the White House.
Yes.
But Hillary, if you go back and listen to those tapes, which I have, there's a thing on YouTube, we can see the whole timeline of it. Up until the day he said, he finally came out and admitted, she was backing him and calling this woman crazy and calling this woman a lie, because I did not have sexual relations with that woman. When that came out, she was right there with him. Yeah,
and you think, like what you said, like with Paula Jones and all this other stuff, how much harassment was given to them through Hillary Clinton?
The directive of her.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And that's the whole deal. I mean, this is evil at its purest form right here.
Yeah.
And
this is a sign of American politics today.
Yeah. And now, kind of a thing you touched on, Europeans, they laugh at this stuff because they're like, all our leaders do this. I mean, we know they got these extra side chicks, and that's not a right thing to do in America, but we know they got these extracurricular affairs or side guys or whatever it might be.
Look at the difference of the way the media overseas is dealing with Andrew and the Lolita Express and the way we're talking about Bill and Trump on Lolita Express. It's a big, huge thing here to them.
Yeah.
It's just another weekend escapade for a rich white guy that's in power.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
We make this huge thing about it because of politics, when in actuality, we don't care what our politicians do on the side that we're on. And the other side, oh my God, did you believe what he did? In reality, we don't really care, just so we don't get busted on our own party.
Yeah, the bottom line, though, is he lied, like you said, under oath.
Correct.
One, and his wife went after the people that he was lying about.
I think Linda Tripp should have got Person of the Year.
Yeah. So this is sad because we're sitting here 5 years afterward hearing a victory speech. That never happened. There was no victory in there. I mean.
Did it start out with my fellow Americans? I hope it did.
Hey, John Brent, what was your GPA in high school?
No idea.
Mine was probably like a 2.5.
It was probably not that.
I mean,
it was high enough to play sports.
It was B and C, and I had an A or 2 every now and then, and I did have an F once. I had to repeat. So, would y'all like to hear my valedictorian speech now?
Exactly.
I'm willing to give it. I mean that's how important it is.
It sounds so freaking silly, but we think about things like that. Like a few years ago, I was playing for a state championship. It would be like me writing a state championship winning speech because I know the media is going to only, in 6 man, is going to interview the winner.
Yeah.
And 4 or 5 years later, I'm not even a coach right now. Took the year off from coaching. That's been 3.5, 4 years. I just decided I'm going to put on the coach and vet with a coach. Let's do a podcast, and I'm going to read my victory speech of the championship that I didn't win.
Yeah.
And the reason I didn't win it was because of the referees and that my players sucked and all these things. I'm going to blame everybody else except for My coaching, when you go back and watch the film, the reason we lost was time management was terrible by the coach. She's not taking responsibility for her. She's blamed everybody in the last couple of years on why she lost.
Yep.
But on herself and what she did 25, 30 years prior.
So I'm going to cover this in a second, but hey, everybody that had a higher GPA, me in Pittsburgh High School in class of 1987, throwing you under the bus, y'all cheated, mother flippers. And I'm the guy. I'm it. I am the valedictorian. I want you to hear it. Get your kids out.
Do you remember who the valedictorian was?
I think it was Scott Bynum.
I think mine was Leah Barnes.
It was either Scott.
See?
So Scott, you're done. Sorry, you got a successful career. You ain't crap. You cheated. No, Scott's actually a good guy. Don't get me wrong. And he earned every bit of it. But I want to take onus of that because that's who I am. I want to take that from him because I couldn't whoop his ass in the GPA arena. Sorry, Scott.
But do you really, you've studied history, and I've studied history. In the last 240 years of this country, let's just take this country, can you remember one time when someone won an election? I'm not saying they weren't mad and gave the concession speech and was pissed off, but they normally say, hey, let's get behind the new president. But can you remember one 2-4 years later coming out and say, you know what, if I would have won, this is what I would have said? Ever?
No.
The narcissistic mentality of the Clintons is above and beyond anything I've ever seen.
They actually believe somebody gives a flying flock on it. As my son says all the time, he'll come up to you and go, who? And you'll sit there a second, and I'm dumb like this, and I'll go, who? He goes, cares! And that's what he says to me. Who cares?
Right.
Who cares? So then, in her little thing, she had to say, well, Angela Merkel, thank God for you because you've really been the true leader of democracy the last 4 years.
So she picked the white woman.
Picked the white woman. Although Angela Merkel, I'm going to throw it out here, who I do like in a lot of ways, and she is no longer the chancellor over. It's chancellor prime minister. I can't remember which one it is. It is now Olaf Scholz. It's spelled with an O. Anyway, and I know that because my wife's brother is Olaf Scholz, but not spelled the same way. And I said, your brother's the new guy? And she goes, no, it's not him. So anyway, but with Merkel, let's see what we can thank Merkel for. There's no tanks in Europe, and where is Russia sitting at right now? Yeah. You're buying freaking oil from Russia, and you're pissed at them because they're on the outskirts of Ukraine, and you are the very country that did not allow Ukraine to be in NATO. So I'm not too fancy with Angela Merkel being the leader of democracy in the free world because she ain't done that really. She's kind of checked the box. Now, has she done other things? Don't get me wrong. I think she is head and shoulders over Hillary. I need you to hear my valedictorian speech now after 55 years. Clinton, but she's not the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Well, you have to realize this. Being a coach, you have a playbook.
Yep.
The Democratic Party has a playbook. Hillary Clinton has a playbook. And that playbook is we're going to check the identity crisis or the identity politics boxes.
Yep.
So just because Merkel's a woman, she's going to get more applaud than someone else that's a male. A person of color, as they're called now, is getting more of a clap in the Progressive Party, and I'm going to call them all progressive, than they do in the Conservative Party, even if they're a black male.
Yep.
It's because we're checking boxes, we're checking identities, and that makes you look cooler to the new woke crowd instead of looking what we really should have at true leadership, no matter what color, no gender, what you have. People I've heard just recently say, well, that's the time of the past. The older white man is the time of the past. If the older white man is a better leader than the younger black woman, why do we not want that?
Exactly. Why do we not want the best leader? The best leader.
It's almost like we have affirmative action in politics coming on.
The best leader, period. Right. Trust me, on the battlefield, we just want the best leader.
Yeah, do you care?
We want the best leader.
We want to win and live.
We want the best leader. I don't care what they look like. I don't care who they sleep with. I don't care what they do in their off time. I don't care who they play naked steamroller with. I don't give a flying flip-flop on all that. I just care that they can lead me in battle. They can put lead on the target, and they can motivate the troops to do whatever the heck there is.
Well, before we get off of this, I want to ask a real quick question. Thinking about the legacy of Clinton is one thing, but let's look at, because not only was she a first lady, she was also the Secretary of State. She was also ran in Senate. She ran for the United States presidency. What is her legacy going to be? Because when I tell my students in history, you really don't start looking at someone's legacy until 25 to 30 years later and start seeing what is her legacy going to be outside of self-indulgence. I mean, I don't know.
So let me give one name out there. William Jennings Bryan.
Wow.
That's who Hillary Clinton will be. And what is William Jennings Bryan known for? Failing like multiple times.
Right.
What, was he probably a decent person? We will never know. History will never portray that part. What will be portrayed was he did not win. He did not win. He did not win.
Well, Joe Biden gives everybody a second, third chance because he had to
them
back
hope.
out from 88.
Yeah,
he had to back out because of plagiarism.
Yeah.
And then he was going to run again, and then I think Obama stepped up, wasn't it? The first Obama.
Yeah.
So his third time around, he won, but
he gives anybody hope.
But not only the reason he gives anybody hopes, Vet, and I hate to say it this way, is it wouldn't have mattered who ran against Donald Trump were going to get that 80 million votes.
I agree. So now this is the question I got, though. I think 50 years from now, history will reflect on Hillary Clinton as no more than William Jennings Bryan. Because, we already had a female candidate that ran for vice president, Geraldine Ferraro, that everybody forgot about. We've already had female senators. If you want to see a damn good female senator, go look at somebody named Senator Kay Bailey Hutchinson.
Oh, my goodness.
Freaking would roll all over her in a heartbeat. And so this is the question I got for Hillary. She's so much into the women empowerment, and let me go find any soul women out there that I can get my hat behind. Would you support Condoleezza Rice to run? Would you support Candace Owens to run?
Nope.
Would you support Kristi Noem to run? Would you support Nikki Haley to run? Because they would wax your butt. Or let me ask this one. Would you support the very one you ostracized from your party because you didn't like how she talked, Tulsi Gabbard?
Well, she don't mess with her.
No,
She does
because
not
she
wanna
will
mess with
hand
her.
her ass to
But
her.
I'll tell you what, some of my dream things that in the last few years in politics, I really, really wanted Biden and Trump's moderator to be Joe Rogan. I thought that would be the best thing ever. But I would absolutely dream to have Hillary Clinton run for president, Candace Owens run for president, and those debates. It's never going to happen.
That would be.
But no one wants to debate Candace Owens for two reasons. Number one, they're going to get involved, and they have to be careful because in this new culture, she's black, but she's a black, strong, conservative woman that is not going to mince her words. There's a lot of times she says things that I go, oh, come on, Candace. But the majority of the time, what she's doing is what they want. That's what's happening on the left right now with the girl from Michigan, the girl at AOC. They spout off worse than Candace Owens, and then when Candace Owens say it, what does the progressive say? Oh, she's a crazy right-wing Uncle Tom.
I will tell you who else I would like to see run, and if you ever watch her, she is the persona of elegance, and that is Harris Faulkner on Fox.
Man.
Harris Faulkner, family of a Green Beret colonel, I believe it was. That's who her father was. She is the epitome of elegance. She walked on The View and sit there and look Joy Behar in the eye and says, as they were sharks swarming around her, she was just like, well, Joy, maybe one day you too can find peace and joy in your heart. Oh my God. She walked in there and walked right out like she owned that mother flipper.
Now, I don't watch The View daily, but I will tell you this. On my Facebook feed, on my videos, it puts some through there. And I'm telling you, I don't know how these women became so angry with themselves, the world, and everything around it.
Well, two things I'll say about The View. First of all, my wife says this. You understand, my wife came up very liberal, came up from the left side, being German. That was just the foundation she was in. And now she's extremely conservative. She says, I will not allow my dogs to watch The View. Yeah. Second, on The View, when you sit there, America really needs to ask this question. How did we allow Joey Behar to be a teacher of our children?
Exactly.
That is hate. That is hate in a 5'8" box frame.
And I don't know.
All stuffed in there. And how did we allow that to teach our children?
Now, Whoopi's Whoopi.
Yeah.
But the other girl that's on there,
Sunny?
Sunny, she's got a show on SiriusXM, and I can't even listen to it because she gets so freaking left-wing and starts yelling. But anytime there's someone on there, even Condoleezza Rice, she was trying to make a very eloquent
Yeah.
point. And she kept interrupting. Finally, she said, can you let me finish? I mean, I'm Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice, and you want to let me finish? It's like they're so angry. They're just trying to go to this small base they have. And it's the Hillary Clinton-based people that are just
and that's
negative.
what, to be honest, if Hillary really wanted to do something where she would find the actual people that appreciate her, the 30 people that are in the View, that's where she should be, to be honest.
I would start worrying about my legacy if I was her.
Yeah.
And I would come down off of that angry tree she's in and embrace some of the great things that she's been involved in with her husband. Yeah. Focus on those 2 or 3 things and worry about my legacy. But she continued, when she did this, and I'm glad we brought this up, when she brought this speech out 5 years later, it was because she was out of the limelight and she needed a little bit of a pat on the back.
She needs some attention. But on that legacy with her foundation, I mean, that money done went to other places. I mean, will we find it in this trial with, what's her name? Starts with M, Maxine Giesel or whatever her name is. Will we find it in that trial for us all over it? I mean, we got the man in the blue dress. I mean, who's that? Bill? Come on now, you know? I mean, but we know that like down in Haiti, that money, ooh, cuckoo,
you know what their
cuckoo.
answer? You know what the left's answer to that was?
What's that?
Trump Foundation. That's all it was.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So, Hillary, it's time for you to go raise your grandkids. It's time for you to go do things like that because no one in America. But thank you for allowing us to have this podcast. Thank you for giving us fodder for this podcast because no one, my son will say, who cares?
Who cares?
Stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned.